The city awoke to the rhythm of ambition. Glass towers glinting under the early sun, engines humming in perfect unison, and footsteps echoing across the marble floors of a grand corporate plaza. Among the tide of sharp, suited executives, a small figure stood out, a 6-year-old girl in a faded pink dress, her tiny hands clutching a well-loved toy. Her name was Sophie. Quiet, observant, innocent. Her mother, Clara, worked as a corporate translator for one of the most influential businessmen in the city. Mr. Leang, a self-made millionaire whose empire stretched across continents. That morning was supposed to be uneventful. Clara had brought Sophie along because the babysitter canceled last minute. She assured her daughter, "It'll just be a quick stop before we head home." But destiny had other plans. What began as an ordinary morning would soon become a story the world would never forget. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, courage and second chances, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Limitless Truth. Your support helps true stories of hope reach hearts around the world. Sunlight spilled through the tall glass entrance as Clara knelt to fix Sophie's cardigan. A few meters away, 3 uniformed security guards stood beside a black luxury car, engines idling, waiting for Mr. Leang. Everything appeared calm, too calm. Sophie's curious eyes wandered from her mother to the guards. They were whispering among themselves in hushed tones. She tilted her head, catching stray words that didn't make sense. Until suddenly, they did. Clara had been teaching Sophie small phrases in different languages for fun. One of those languages was Chinese. And now, those lessons echoed in her mind like a warning. The bomb is under the seat. He won't make it past the bridge. The words froze her blood. Sophie's tiny fingers gripped her toy tighter. Her face went pale. Clara noticed immediately and crouched beside her, worry clouding her voice. "Sophie. What's wrong?" she whispered. The little girl didn't answer. She just stared at the car. Mr. Leang emerged from the building, shaking hands, smiling confidently, unaware of the danger waiting for him. And then, her small voice cut through the air like a siren. "Don't get in the car." The entire plaza went silent. Heads turned. Engines paused. One of the guards flinched, panic flashing in his eyes before reaching for his earpiece. Clara's heart pounded. She didn't know why her daughter shouted. But the terror in her voice was undeniable. Mr. Leang froze mid-step, his smile fading. He looked at Sophie, her hand trembling as she pointed toward the vehicle. Something about her eyes, pure fear mixed with innocence, made him hesitate. "Wet," he said firmly. The security team rushed in to inspect the car. One guard tried to insist everything was fine, his voice cracking. But another opened the back door. And the faint ticking sound silenced every other noise in the plaza. Seconds later, chaos erupted. Alarms blaring, people shouting. A desperate evacuation. And then, an explosion tore through the parking area, sending fire, smoke, and debris high into the morning sky. The blast had detonated prematurely. Everyone who hesitated was saved. When the smoke cleared, Mr. Leang stood there, shaken but alive. His once pristine white shirt covered in dust. Sophie clung to her mother's waist, sobbing quietly. Police swarmed the area. 2 of the supposed guards were revealed as imposters, part of an organized assassination plot. Sophie's cry had not just saved one man's life, but dozens. Hours later, in the quiet of a police station, Mr. Leang sat across from Clara and Sophie. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by humility and disbelief. "She saved my life," he said softly, his voice breaking as he looked at the little girl hiding behind her mother's arm. Sophie didn't speak. She only nodded, eyes red from crying. "I don't think anyone has ever done that for me before," he whispered. Days turned into weeks. The story spread across every headline. Millionaire saved by child's warning. But what the cameras didn't show was how one act of innocence reshaped 3 lives forever. Mr. Leang visited Clara and Sophie often. He learned that Clara had been raising Sophie alone since her husband's passing 2 years earlier. She worked long hours just to keep their small apartment and ensure Sophie had a better life. The same language lessons she practiced at home, the ones Sophie had playfully picked up, had unknowingly stopped a tragedy. Gratitude slowly grew into something deeper. Mr. Leang found comfort in their company. Laughter returned to his days. The warmth of family, something he hadn't felt in years, began to heal him. To Sophie, he became the father figure she missed so dearly. Someone who listened to her stories, answered her endless questions, and saw the light in her curiosity. To Clara, he was a reminder that kindness still existed in a world driven by wealth and power. In time, Mr. Leang funded a language education program in Sophie's name, helping children from underprivileged families learn new languages. So they can be brave too, he said with a gentle smile. But what changed him most wasn't being saved. It was realizing how much of life he had missed chasing success. A child's courage had reminded him that humanity mattered more than any empire. Months later, they stood together again. In the same plaza where it all began. The city buzzed with life, but their hearts were quiet, full of peace. Mr. Leang turned to Sophie and said softly, "You didn't just save my life, Sophie. You reminded me how to live it." The little girl smiled shyly and looked up at her mother, who placed a proud hand on her shoulder. Behind them, the morning sun reflected off the glass towers. A symbol of new beginnings, born not from wealth or power, but from love, courage, and second chances. Before we end this story, if this moment touched your heart, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe to Limitless Truth. Your support helps us bring real stories of compassion and faith in humanity to life. Tell us in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Sophie's place that morning? Would you have had the courage to speak up? Because sometimes, the smallest voices carry the loudest truths. Sophie's bravery reminds us that even in a world full of fear, a child's heart can change the course of countless lives. For Clara, Sophie, and Mr. Leang, that one moment of courage was enough to rewrite their story. A story of faith, kindness, and the power of doing what's right, no matter how small or scared you feel. Because kindness, spoken in any language, can truly save the world.